Towards the end of the book, you've got a whole section called On a Meaningful Life. People have been trying to answer this question for like millennia. So what's the kind of psychology, research, scientific take on how do we live a meaningful life?
Sure. So a lot of the stuff from that section is taken from, I really like using acceptance and commitment therapy, ACT, which has a whole sort of part of that therapy is around understanding your own values and what gives you meaning and purpose in life. So I've devoted a whole section to it because I think it's so important, and I also think it's important to not just do it once, but to keep doing sort of little values check-ins where you just step back, get a bit of a bird's eye view on what's going on in your life at this point, what matters most to you at this point, because it changes, right? You know, what was important to you at 21 might not be the same things that are important to you at 31. So your values change as you go along, but the way that we set it out in therapy is that a value is like a path that you follow your whole life. There is no end to it, but you value that path, so you want to stay close to it as much as you can. Okay. So a goal is something once you've done it, you've done it, it's finished. So your goal might be to do a marathon, but your value might be to stay fit and healthy. And so the marathon becomes one of many possible goals along the way, but your value is to continue to be fit and healthy along the way. So that's the path. Is fit and health, fitness and health. And then there can be lots of hurdles and lots of goals along the way. But at times life steers you away from those. So, life happens and maybe your job is very intense, or you have children or whatever it is, and it might steer you away from that path. And so that's why I think it's so important to do these regular sort of values check-ins where you go, oh, I'm not feeling quite right. And actually lots of people come to therapy with that sort of sense of, I'm not really sure what the problem is. I'm feeling a bit lost, or a bit, life feels a bit meaningless at the moment. And often that's because people have lost touch with what's most important to them, or life has steered them away from things that matter to them. And so just getting clarity on what does matter to me, what is the most important thing or things in my life at the moment, and what kind of person do I want to be in those areas of my life, which then allows you to set goals based on the life that you want to have or the person that you want to be.
How do you go about figuring out your values?
So there are lots of kind of little exercises you can do. Sometimes you can literally just grab a piece of paper, separate into little boxes, and you might have boxes for family life, or lifelong learning, or health, or creativity. So you can kind of fill those boxes with the different aspects of your life, and then in each box kind of ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be in this area of my life? So maybe it's family relationships. What kind of son do I want to be to my mum? What kind of, or my dad, and what kind of relationship do I want to have? What do I want to represent to those people? How would that show up in terms of behavior and action, daily behavior? And then you just kind of fill it with words or bullet points, and that gives you this picture of what life would be like if you were living in line with all of those values. And sometimes they pull on each other, so sometimes they conflict. You might have this real idea of being a successful entrepreneur, but actually that sucks all of your time, and you also want to be a family guy, and you want to spend time with your kids, or and so often there's this idea, this balancing act where, okay, life has pulled me in one direction and I want to pull it back this way. So it's not about setting goals and doing them perfectly. It's about always just tipping the balance. I haven't been working out for a while because I've been so focused on work. So I know I'm just going to come back in this direction a little bit more and balance things out. So it's really just getting clarity. But it's also not focusing on what happens to you. So it's not saying this is what I want in my life, because then things can happen and then you think, oh, failed, it hasn't worked out. It's really not about what happens to you. It's about how you want to be in the face of all the stuff that life throws at us. How do I want to respond when hard stuff happens? How do I want to respond when I'm in a good place? And stuff like that.
Hey friends, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this clip, then click here for the full unedited episode. And if you like that, then do please consider subscribing to the channel. It means a lot. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye-bye.